It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. The Titans back on the practice field today in preparation for the home opener Sunday against the LA Chargers at Nissan Stadium. Coordinators met with the media before practice, including offensive play caller Tim Kelly, who discussed Derrick Henry's usage or lack thereof in the second half of the loss in New Orleans.
Probably like to have a call or two back off the top of my head here to be able to get him probably the ball a little bit more. But yeah, I don't. It was just again that's my job to make sure that I'm putting that we're getting the ball to our best players, and I got to do a better job of that.
Injury news in Knoxville. Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel stating that starting center Cooper Mays will return and make his season debut on Saturday as the Vols head down to Florida to take on the Gators in front of a sellout crowd in the Swamp. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wayne and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Thursday to you. What up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Roll call, Lucas Panzica. You doing okay today?
Fantastic.
What's going on with the Nashville SC? What can we look forward to on the horizon?
Nice little break for them. The international break going on. A lot of international friendlies taking place.
Boy, we need one of those.
Yes.
Just an international break. Just the three of us. Just go somewhere international and be gone for a while.
Much needed break for them.
Yeah.
They'll be back next Wednesday. They've got 2 road games next Wednesday in Kansas City, and then next Saturday at San Jose.
Yeah, that season is like NASCAR season long. They play forever.
Late February. The regular season ends in late October 21st. The MLS Cup final, if you get there, is December 9th.
Dude, it's like a 2-week break.
And they even less of a break than the some of the players in the European calendar.
Yeah. Well, luckily I sucked at soccer. I don't have to worry about my life as a pro soccer player.
Or even more of a break. Excuse me.
Yes. No, it wasn't even offered. My town was so small we didn't have soccer. I would have had to have been driven 25 miles to even see a soccer field.
I don't think it was offered in my neighborhood either.
It was not offered in my neighborhood.
It was in the city.
There was no soccer.
I wish I would have played soccer. I wish there was availability to that, but it wasn't. It wasn't a big thing like it is now. Yeah.
They got soccer in Jonesboro now, Mick?
Jonesboro always had soccer. I'm actually from Harrisburg.
Oh, excuse me. Harrisburg. That's what I meant. Yes.
No, Jonesboro had a big soccer community.
Okay.
But it was 25 miles away. My parents were like, we ain't driving you 25 miles to do anything.
Watch this. Lucas, I just said it wasn't offered there. You didn't ask me is it offered now?
I totally assume it is.
In the city of Indianapolis.
In
Why would you
Indianapolis.
assume?
Indianapolis is
It's a cultured city.
Big little city now.
With
Yeah,
things
it's a
like
cultured
soccer.
town.
But it may not still be offered where I'm from.
Harrisburg, Arkansas, I don't know. But
It is not.
Indianapolis, Indiana, I bet you
Still
it is.
not
it may
offered.
be offered in Indianapolis, but maybe far from where I was.
Fair enough.
I may have needed a ride.
Fair
I
enough.
didn't have a ride. My mom might have been at work, single parent home.
IU,
The ones Deion Sanders recruits.
Indiana, big soccer university.
Buck Reising went to 0 games, I'm quite sure.
Yes, positive about that.
Huh? What did he go to?
Basketball, dressed like a banana. Remember, we found this out last. But by the way, Buck
He
is
told
going to
us.
join us
Yeah,
in
20.
18 minutes.
Yeah, he can explain it.
He can explain this. He was briefly a student at Western Kentucky University.
That was mind blowing. I discovered that. Well, he said it, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You were Hip Topper Big Red? Yep. I said, oh, so you went there with the intent to transfer? He said, yep. Oh, because he couldn't get into IU.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he did later. He was driving from Bowling Green to Bloomington to go to basketball games, he said.
Oh, yeah.
And dressing like a banana.
Oh, it's not that far.
Yeah.
Yeah. All his friends were there. That's the reason why.
Yeah. Maybe a lady there.
Oh, I don't know.
In a banana
I was
suit.
assuming it was his buddies,
We can ask him
That's
about
pretty cool, though.
We can ask him about absolutely. We can ask him about that. Titans host the Chargers on Sunday. Ryan Tannehill said earlier this week he's watched last week's film 5 times. He is now the number 1 odds at BetOnline as the first starting quarterback to be replaced.
Well, he was already like top
He was
5.
close.
He
He
up there.
was top 5.
I was like, dang, do they know something we don't know?
He's catapulted to number 1. And this show,
This
so
is after one performance.
full
A horrible
disclosure,
performance.
full disclosure, when we're in the studio, there's a gigantic TV, and Lucas is kind enough to sometimes put, NFL Network on
Yeah,
there
we
for
just
us.
like change the channel.
Hey, man, we get
Really,
the TV
mean,
on.
like, turn it on.
So we're, living vicariously through Joe Hunk's YouTube account 24/7 around here, but watching some NFL Network. Well, Rap Sheet and his crew they do this thing in the afternoon where they try to dress like a bunch of dads on vacation. It just is maddening to me.
Oh, when they're doing it,
They
when
do
they have
these-
them all up there together.
Yes, and they're on a Zoom meeting with each other, and they're all talking, and everybody's
Because
got.
they're at home, and you're saying that the dress is kind of lax, kind of like what we got.
They
on.
dress like us every day, but we're on radio. We're on radio. We're just on radio, and I
No,
know there's a
we're not
video
just
element.
on-
I know there's a video element, but we're not on NFL Network. You were on NFL Network. Did they ever tell you, hey, man, just get a shirt out of the back of your closet that says casual dad and wear that up here
even
today?
if you're on via Zoom or streaming, I think they should at least have on collar shirts. Be business casual. They're a little lenient on the business.
No,
casual.
it's casual. Just throw business away. But they got into this whole thing about what Vrabel said, what was it, Monday, about Tannehill, about, Ryan's got to be better. He can't throw into double coverage. They were hinting like this thing could flip sooner than later if it doesn't get better for Tannehill soon.
Well, I didn't need any national guy. I said it myself.
You've been saying that for a long, long time.
Yeah,
That's what I was
said
getting to.
If he throws wide open layups and he misses them again, he will. He will. Because I'm a Tannehill guy, and I'm going to support you all the way until I don't. Mm-hmm. Now you costing me and this team games. You don't miss wide open shots. So those are the ones that really bother me. I know all the interceptions and everything else. I told you those don't, maybe one of them, he was kind of forcing it. I was cool with the offense and the play calling. Mm-hmm. Now, do I want it to be better here or there? It's no different than did you want Vrabel to go for it on fourth down? And I don't know. I agree with what he did. But, in the same vein, you could have said go for it and he might have got it. Who knows? So he just got to hit the layups. You can't miss guy. I've never seen that out of a starting quarterback. And I mean, eons of missing a wide open guy that's deep twice. So he hits those, they win the game. It's easy. They win. Totally different ball game. So, and we be talking about how much we love Tim Kelly's play calling and everything else if he would have made those layups. But he didn't. He blew a layup. Have you ever blown a layup? I have. Boy, it is the worst feeling. The fear that you may do it again is horrific. I did it in a high school game. I was like, what? I was like, it rolled off my finger a little slower than I expected.
And then you pray that nobody was chasing you hard enough that you could try to tip it back in.
No, they got the rebound. So I said, next time I'm just going I'm overhanding layup regular. I try to be silky smooth and do the
finger roll. Come on, man. That only works for George Gervin.
Like, you're not Dr. J.
Yeah.
And you can't jump like him either.
Well, you got to where you could jump, though. This must have been early on because you should have just 360 dunked that
This
thing.
was freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. It
yet,
hasn't left me because people still laugh at me. Well, we went undefeated, but, yeah, I was like, oh, man, I know, man. I can't believe it. I can't do nothing but laugh because I missed it.
I missed one against the Monette Buffaloes.
Monette. I don't even remember who it was against, but I remember
Buffaloes.
missing.
Yeah, that school doesn't even exist anymore. Monette Buffaloes. This guy named Cotter was his last name. Welcome back. Yeah, that dude harassed me. The whole game. He harassed me.
What do you mean he harassed
just like,
you?
Come on, man.
He was just playing defense, Mickey.
He was the most. Come on, man. Come on. I'm getting hot. Like my face is getting red thinking about it.
You're getting mad.
I'm getting mad at this guy.
See, that's one thing it wasn't advantageous for me is getting mad in basketball. You cannot play basketball mad. It is defense. No, I was throwing up bricks. I get mad like, dang it. Oh, I didn't mean to bank, but it got close.
This dude picked my pocket. And he goes down there, and I had picked his, and I missed mine. And I said, because little gyms in Arkansas, you had the huge concrete wall with the pad on it right behind the goal, right? That's about 3 feet behind the goal. And I said, oh, no, I said, I'm going to catch him in the air, and I'm going to drive him into that pad. And if I get thrown out, I get thrown out. He was so fast I couldn't catch him.
Oh.
He had already hit his layup
I'm glad
and waited for me to get the ball so he could harass me some more.
Oh, well,
I wasn't going to hit him in the air. I was going to let him land.
I think you go get him in the air.
I was going to let him land, but he was so much faster than me. He had landed and was waiting for me to get harassed again. But I was pissed at that guy. Monette Buffaloes.
Yeah, I can't say that I haven't run somebody into those pads.
I wanted to knock that guy into those pads.
Yeah.
Cotter.
I absolutely did. Because they did exactly what you said you were going to do. When he goes over shot, you're not going to undercut him.
Yeah.
Somebody did that. And I landed on my freaking neck.
Yeah. Oh.
I was like, uh-oh.
You were mad.
And then that was Hitman came out. Just like
H-Town.
I said, okay. Mm-hmm. And they got just a foul. Oh, no, that is not good enough.
You ain't got no flagrant.
Kick him out.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, that wasn't. No, there was nothing about that an accident. Yeah. Yep. So he got a little bit of that padding. And then I got thrown out. I was like, I was, as soon as he goes up, boom, right into that pad. And well, it do have me all up in the air, man. I ain't know when I was coming down on my neck. Good Lord. Well, anyway, speaking of necks, Buck's he doesn't have a neck. He has just a head on a body. That's what Tannehill gonna have if he don't complete some of these passes.
Okay. For the record, I mentioned the rap sheet thing, and you followed it up even before I could say this. You've been saying this long before rap sheeting those guys, and you don't. The Tannehill having a short leash, in your opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man, there's two other guys behind him now, second-round pick and a third-round pick. They're drafted guys. The guys are there that they're going to eventually give a shot to, one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't expect it to happen immediately in the next game, but it could happen down the road. I would assume, being a veteran guy, and the way he's kind of approached this of having meetings, watching it 5 times, all these different things, you could tell he's really very anal and detail-oriented on what happened. Why did I not make it? So, in a couple of them, he got hit. I mean, he couldn't step into the throws. I think one of them, he really was all on him. That, so you can, and I think that's why he didn't just say, it's all my fault, because that's what people want him to say.
Sure.
He's just going to say, I need to do better. The offense, the receivers, everybody needs better, because he knows in the back of his mind that it's not all on him to a certain extent. And some guys just are easy to just say that. I just think Tannehill's just not one of those guys, really. And I don't think it's intentional. I think he's just giving his honest opinion because he doesn't want to throw other people under the bus. I think it's more, though, that than anything else. What if he just got up and said, well, how about you guys throw to the receivers when none of them are open? What would you do? Or, where's your confidence level? And his response would have been, well, when you write a bad article and it was untrue, how do you feel when you go to write the next article? And you got it wrong. Are you nervous the next time you write it? Are you more thorough? Or what do you do? See, so, people, some people, and that's kind of maybe being defensive, but at the same time, he's just saying, hey, no, I have confidence. The majority of athletes wouldn't have gotten where they are without having confidence. People act like it was all gravy the whole entire time.
Right.
I mean, like, oh, man, yeah, were you one of the better players? But you definitely had pitfalls throughout your journey that you had to, make it past and do well. So I just, his confidence level is going to be as high as he wants it to be because he believes and knows he's good. That's at the end of the day. That's it. It's nothing. I had a bad game. Well, guess what? You don't make it to this level, the pro level, without being the ultimate, almost cancerous level of competitor. I mean, it's almost unhealthy, to be honest. Mm-hmm. The best of the best, Michael Jordan, that's the whole issue with him and the gambling. He can't stop. He believes he can win at everything. See? Well, there's a lot of athletes that are just like that. Maybe they don't do gambling. Maybe they just do football or whatever the other thing is. Maybe it's dominoes. Maybe it's, playing video games. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, I think he's going to come out and perform well. If he doesn't, boy, it's going to, Based off what I feel from Vrabel, I think he don't mess around. I'm serious now. Nobody's ever told me that, but he's just a guy. I think he critiques everybody, blasts everybody, quarterback, kicker. It doesn't even matter. He doesn't even care. Like, it is what it is. And this is the first time I actually agree with him. He said, hey, we can't miss wide open guys. Period. Those are facts.
Let's talk some facts with Buck Reising. He knows some Titans facts. We'll get with Mr. A to Z Sports and the Buck Reising Show, and he does the pregame show with us. He's everywhere, and he's here next on Blade and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Titans and Chargers on Sunday, the home opener, year 25 of the Tennessee Titans being the Tennessee Titans, and they will play an old AFC foe, the Chargers, and Buck Reising will be there. And right now, we'll talk to Buck Reising about this particular game. Buck, lots of talk about the Titans quarterback this week. Your thoughts on what you saw from Ryan Tannehill, and you had Greg Cosell on, and you guys talked about Ryan Tannehill, and then some people are mad at Tannehill because they said he's not accountable enough. Just what a week to be Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of earned stuff this week. Normally I think that people are needlessly critical of him in particular, but this is not one of those times. And, the accountability stuff, I don't know what people want him to say like this. There's only so much that can be said when you go nuclear the way that he did. And so the best thing that he can do is not say anything, go out there, play to win a game, play efficiently, not turn the ball over. And then this won't be forgotten, but it won't be a talking point for an entire week the way that it has. It's just tough to start the season that way in a new offense, that way when the opportunities are clear and obvious to everybody who's seeing them and, except for you on the field.
Buck, well, let me add to that, though, real quick, Mickey, and that is if he throws an interception early in the game, how many boo birds will be coming out the woodworks? All I think about is the McNair deal when we first started. I mean, they were booing Mac. And I was like, what the heck are they doing?
Yeah. I honestly, Lucas and I were talking about this earlier in the week, guys. Like, I mean, they're not going to introduce the offense on Sunday, are they? They're going to introduce the defense.
Oh, they had to do offense. We got the King is home.
Yeah, okay, but you don't really
There's no. Hey, man, that we need to get some odds on that for Buck's
I didn't even think about
bets.
that, but you're right. You're right. They better do defense. You're right. Yeah, they better do the defense.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they'll have a hard time booing Derek if he's like holding Tannehill in his arm. If he runs out of the tunnel, maybe they give him the American flag too, so they can't boo the flag and Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. So maybe they cover it up that way. But I don't know, if he throws an interception early, the crowd's going to be out of it, and you can't have that. It's different because they were on the road. The Superdome is a nightmare scenario to open the season with. Dennis Allen is a nightmare defensive coordinator to go up against in your first game of the season, and yet they still had opportunities that he himself clearly missed beyond the 3 interceptions. The 3 interceptions are bad, but they're more like the cherry on top than they are the actual larger issue that was Ryan Tannehill's literal Sunday against the Saints. So I think that he has to play efficiently. He doesn't have to throw for 4 touchdowns. He doesn't have to throw for 500 yards or 400 yards the way that Tua did. He just has to make them or put them in a position to succeed, and he did not do so as the starting quarterback against the Saints.
We're talking about fans booing, possibly Ryan Tannehill if he was introduced with the offense or if he throws a pick early in the game or maybe at any time. This team hasn't won a game since November 17th of last year.
Yeah,
it has been a long you were there in Green Bay. You talk about falling off a cliff since. They have not won another game.
8.
And just all the time in between and all the offseason, and then you start with another loss and you think, gosh, you could have won that game, but you let it slip away. I would imagine there could be a powder keg of emotions with Titans fans if this thing were to start going badly fairly quickly in the game.
Oh, I don't think it's a powder keg. I think it's just, you risk losing them. You genuinely risk losing them this early in the season. Because, we talked about when the schedule came out, their first 6 weeks is vicious.
Yeah.
This is the hardest stretch of football, provided that these teams stay largely healthy. This is the toughest stretch of football that they're really going to play, including a divisional opponent and the London game on the road against the Ravens. So, not on the road. They're technically the home team, but you know what I mean. So the issues that they are having – being that close, and for the one thing that, really has been, he hasn't had many moments where it's just outright dreadful. That's the worst performance of his career. So I'm not here to spin it positive. I'm inclined to think that Ryan Tannehill is not going to follow up the worst performance of his career with another worst performance of his career. within 1 point of the game, and you can debate the merits of them kicking the field goal to get within 1 point of the game at that stage. But like, I sympathize, I totally sympathize with Titans fans. Like, I'm there too. I've seen every one of the last 8 losses and asked Mike Vrabel the same questions in press conferences. It feels like for the better part of 9 months at this point. And for them to get just within reach of it and to literally throw away a game, or throw away the game has to, understandably drive fans insane this week, which it clearly has based on our phone lines.
People have been insane. What's not insane is buying a car from Two Rivers. They sponsor Buck each week. Buck Reising's appearance. Brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople.
Well, Buckster, what is your level of concern with the early injuries already to the Tennessee Titans?
Well, there's no way to be anything but concerned about Christian Fulton's hamstring situation. It's just, I don't know. I can't ask him to do any more than he's done. You just hate it for him. And if it's already happening, like, what is their plan to manage it so it doesn't worsen, right? Do you put him out there this week against the Chargers? He was limited today in practice, or yesterday in practice, and figures we'll see what the injury report says here, and probably by the time I wrap up this phone call. But do you push it right out of the gate with him in a contract year? I think that Amani Hooker.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Hooker with the concussion situation is obviously awful because we talked about their safety depth, and then he was the best defensive back that they had in the game. He was everywhere. He was making plays, not just the interception. He was really, really sound, and it was good to see him and Kevin Byard back there because it had been some time since we'd seen them back there working that way. But those two are pretty critical against an offense that ran the hell out of the ball last week. I just don't think that's going to be their game plan against the Titans.
What about Tart, Sharp, D-Hop, ankle? Because he went out at the end there, D-Hop. If people were paying attention on the broadcast there, you could see. So I don't know the extent of his injury, and I don't know if he practiced today, but those are all big.
Yeah, Spears, another one to watch. He was on the list.
Yeah. That's a Sharp.
Well, and Spears is the one that I'm more immediately kind of red flagging because they signed Josh Patrick to the practice squad.
Right.
Today. That's the one that I would think is almost a direct correlation. So, like, immediate red flags. I don't want to incite unnecessary panic about Hopkins. I think kind of let it sit. We'll see how this week goes. But Spears, I think, is the more immediate one that I would keep an eye on.
Man, there's no other back like him on the roster, really. So that whole dynamic piece there in the offense will be missed if he doesn't play.
Don't you sleep on my boy Chestnut, Blaine.
No, don't get me wrong. Chestnut's a good player, and I like him and all, and Mickey's favorite guy and everything else, Crush there from camp, who's done a good job and moved up the ladder. But let's don't get it wrong now. He's not Spears there with his dynamic play. He's more of an inside tackle runner. But poor man's, Spears, I guess that's going to be the role. You think? Who's going to play that role then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the biggest, beyond Kyle Phillips having to kind of adjust their offense without Kyle Phillips. Now I think that dude's like a big piece of their offense. If we're to take any indications or any kind of first looks from him out-snapping Derrick Henry, not out-carrying Derrick Henry, but out-snapping Derrick Henry, I think that's going to be a pretty big problem for Tim Kelly to have to solve, a deployment situation that they're going to have to make up for. Because you're right, Blaine, they don't have that skill set. He's a 3-down back for a reason. They don't have another player like that on the roster, including Derrick.
Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts, with Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show? What were your thoughts on the play of the offense? And I want to read these stats to you first, and that is, and defense. Offense, overall, 16th. Points, 26 after 1 week. Defense, overall, 25. Points, 8th. When you hear that, what do you think?
Titans
after 1
football,
week?
baby. in football. But it looks a little different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks totally different. Yeah.
So the fact that they're having, we're talking about similar issues but a different offense, I think is enough for fans to be slightly concerned. But I do think that they, like Blaine, watching their offense, like I felt like there's some really cool opportunities that they had, and they just blew it.
Yeah,
they just blew it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm fine with arguing for more Derrick Henry carries in the second half. I'm never going to dispute that. But in reality, like, the game plan would have worked the way that it played out had they hit the opportunities that they gave themselves. So I'm not really that caught up in Derrick's snap count. I think that defensively, they held them in the red zone and they gave up explosive plays in critical moments. There was the 41-yarder at the end of the game with Christian Fulton in coverage after he had dealt with the hamstring injury. That allowed them to ice it. They had 5 plays that they allowed that were 20 yards or more in that game. So that's something to keep an eye on. And honestly, Blaine, like the way that they adjusted to the Titans pass rush, the Saints did in the second half, they, just keeping guys into chip, making some adjustments to give Carr a fraction of a second longer.
Nothing Penny
crazy.
Was having some issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing crazy, but they did at least mitigate the pressure enough in the second half to give themselves a chance to make some plays. So those are things that I'm, keeping an eye on as we move forward here. But if I'm Tim Kelly, I don't really change much about what I'm doing offensively. I think it worked.
Well, Spears won't, maybe he won't play. I don't know. So then that may not even be an issue. But I guess last question for me, Buck, and that is, what'd you think about Vrabel's decision to kick? I agree with that decision. Naturally, a lot of people in analytics, I think, even disagrees with that decision. But what were your thoughts maybe at that time and maybe even after thinking about it? Did you have the same opinion?
Yeah, honestly, I did. Because, I understood what he was doing, right? He's putting his trust in the defense. The defense has bailed them out plenty of times. This wasn't one. It didn't work this time. When we talk about numbers in football, Blaine, I am totally comfortable with people using analytics for guidance as opposed to as gospel. And I think that's a mistake that we make in a lot of areas of life, just generally. But that they have it as a resource is one thing. But and Lucas and I talked about this yesterday on the I think it was yesterday on the radio show. The analytics hires that they've made are in the front office. The analytics hires are scouting related as opposed to in-game football decisions. So those who are critical of the lack of Titans' analytical presence, particularly in how they go about their offense, might have been fooled by the hires that they made in the offseason or might not have noticed the hires that they made in the offseason were not about the offensive coaching staff.
Yeah, well, analytics said the offensive line played tremendous. I mean, people grading out at 100%. I don't know what analytics was looking at, but they definitely wasn't that.
Yeah, Hubbard was good. I didn't think he was he graded out as the best pass-blocking offensive lineman in football, according to ESPN.
That was
I don't know how you got that number.
100% win rate.
Yeah. Come on now.
So I'm that's what I'm saying. It's not gospel. Don't look at it as gospel. But I do think that, there were some positives from the offensive line. The biggest negative was Dillard for sure. And I think that, if Hubbard can maintain a consistent level of play like that, then right tackle, the biggest issue that we thought they were going to have, then it becomes a question of, is he good enough to keep the starting job post NPF suspension? One game sample size. I'm not gonna leap to any conclusions, but I was not overwhelmingly the offensive line was not the thing that ultimately lost them the game. There were some moments where he had pressure for sure, and the interceptions I think are good examples of that. But I think for the most part they did their job.
There you have it, Buck Reising.
Bucko, when you look at the Chargers, they ran the ball really well in week 1, got into a big shootout with the Dolphins, so they obviously didn't do a great job of stopping the Dolphins' offense. Couldn't hold them off late and hold on to the win. What stands out to you about the lightning bolts coming in here on Sunday?
Oh, that Eckler might not be with them. I'm talking about Titans practice squad transactions. The Chargers made one themselves, bringing up a running back to their practice squad. So I think something to keep an eye on this week. And I know he missed practice today with the ankle but also the passing of his agent apparently is what he missed practice for yesterday. So he's in attendance for that. But he's on the injury report for that ankle, and it sounds significant enough that he might not be able to go. Now, I do think that the game plan will be different, right? They have these ginormous skill position players and a Titans secondary that I don't think they overmatched is not the right word. I thought the secondary played well enough. There was a coverage bust late. We talked about it. But I do think that the matchup would favor the Chargers in their downfield passing game with some of these, Donald Parham, their tight end, is 6'8". He's just going to win some one-on-one balls. Quentin Johnson, their first-round draft pick, who's, I know consistency is a talking point with him coming out of the draft process, but I do think that he's a weapon. And, of course, the guys that they've had in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
Yeah.
I think that favors their passing game this week as opposed to how clearly and obviously they came out with the intention of attacking the Dolphins' run defense on Sunday.
Yeah, you didn't even mention Gerald Everett, another tight end who is just that dude looks like a Batman suit and plays tight end. They got lots of weapons. What was the thing that you saw get overreacted the most by Titans fans about after game one?
Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's usage.
Even bigger than Tannehill, huh?
Yeah, overreact. I think it's okay to let him overreact about Tannehill. It's not an overreaction about Tannehill. It was disastrous, and the only overreaction on Tannehill is that he's going to be pulled after 1 week and that they should trade him to the Jets immediately. Those are overreactions. Okay, but Henry's usage as a talking point for deficiencies in Tim Kelly's game plan, I thought ignored exactly what it was that they missed on, which was the opportunities that were there for 2 touchdowns at minimum. And, depending on how Tannehill goes about the rest of the game, at least I think an opportunity to win that game that they lost by a point. So I thought, while you can, anytime the Titans lose and Derrick Henry gets less than 20 carries, people are going to gravitate towards it. And I get it. I'm not saying that you're wrong for thinking that the best player on offense historically shouldn't be more involved when you lose a game. But I do think it ignores what they had with the opportunities that they did have in the passing game that Derrick Henry contributed enough to. It doesn't have to be overkill just because you saw him do enough in a game.
One and only Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show.
I guess lastly, I know you have Cosell on. Anything that stood out that you guys had conversation about the Titans and Saints game that most people probably had different views on?
The Chig interception, or the interception where the intended was Chris Moore. And I said Chig interception because Greg's observation on the play concept was that Chig had run his route significantly deeper than he had intended to. And so the visuals on the interception for Tannehill, while the turnover is bad, there was an explanation of why Tannehill let that ball go in that direction and why Chig looked as open as he did, because he was already there when the ball already had to been thrown, and it made the optics of it, I think, to the eye were much more glaring on a miss than it might have otherwise been, even on a bad play.
Did you think Tannehill was, let's say, not as sharp, or just because some of those balls were, I know the one to D-Hop was underthrown on purpose, but then the one before that, and even on that throw, the play that you're talking about, that was underthrown because Moore had to stop.
Yes, and tried to come back to the ball, which I think was a lot of people's complaints that there wasn't a DPI on that play. But I do think that, well, Greg did make the point that there are plenty of areas in that game that were not interceptions that were great examples of Tannehill just not being mentally, in it.
Sharp.
Not being sharp the way that you described. And, what those reasons are, he declined to comment in much detail. Ryan Tannehill did. And it doesn't really do him any good to explain it to people further than, might, it doesn't help him to expand much. But that was Greg's biggest point is, for a 12-year veteran quarterback, he kind of looked out of sorts from the start.
Could have been the pressure early on, got him rattled. Who knows?
Buck Reising, he never gets rattled.
Except
All
when
the
he's in a
stuff that he
banana
does.
suit.
That's it. At a basketball game in a banana suit. But no other time. Bucko, we'll see you Sunday morning, bright and early on the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff, starting at 9 o'clock, right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Indeed. We'll see you out on the stage. I'm sure the boys will have some cinnamon rolls, and our girl Martha bring me my bucket of fruit that I'm accustomed to seeing on Sunday mornings.
There you go.
You know you cheat with the
200
cinnamon
by game one. I'm sure it's still to go. All right, Buck, we'll talk to you Sunday.
See you, boys.
I love cinnamon rolls. I do. Oh, they so good.
We've talked a lot about Tannehill and how long his leash might be if, let's say, the bad start continues. I have an over-under on games I want to ask you guys about next based on historical precedent. Let's do that next.
He's going to wear a choker.
"40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind:
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
to sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40 years of Two Rivers Ford.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. So back in 2019, Marcus Mariota started the season as the Titans starting quarterback. And he started the 6th game of the year, and that was in Denver. It's one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. That was, you could just tell, okay, this is over. When's the change? And they came out. Tannehill started the second half of game 6, and then he started the final 10 games. So essentially, Marcus had 5.5 games. 5.5.
In 2019?
2019.
19.
Tannehill started 10. He finished game 6. Then he started the final 10. There's only 16 games in, not 17.
He
right
looked
now.
better instantly in that game than Marcus. And Marcus, to his credit, was playing some form. Had some injury. I don't remember what it was. Might have been his opposite throwing shoulder or something. But he looked horrific. Eesh.
Tannehill finished up 7-3. Completely changed the course of the season. Do you think if it went as badly as that year went, and it was a bad start to the year, do you
know the record?
Oh, I can get it for you.
Okay.
Do you think they lost to Denver?
2-4. No, just kidding. I have no.
Let me
You
roll
said
back
it was,
here.
Week 6.
It's week 6.
Yeah, they were 2-4, right?
2-4.
2-4.
Oh, I guess right.
They were 2-4. Good job. 2-4. Then they beat the Chargers. They beat the Bucks. They lost to the Panthers inexplicably. That was a weird game. They lost by 10 to the Panthers. They beat Kansas City, the Jags, the Colts, the Raiders, lost to the Texans and Saints. Then they beat the Texans. Championship game. That they literally vaulted on into, well, the farthest this team had been since 2003, I think was the last AFC Championship game appearance. That game in Oakland. It was a game in Oakland where the Raiders got them in the AFC Championship game.
And that Panthers game, real quick, do you remember the quarterback they lost to? Kyle Allen.
Yes.
That's the last time that Ryan Tannehill had 30 or more pass attempts and Derrick Henry had 15 or less rushing attempts in the same game until Sunday.
Boy.
In New Orleans.
Lucas Panzika.
Wow. And they looked horrible in that game.
Horrible. It was just one of those.
The Panthers whipped their
whipped their butts. They scored 30 on them that day.
Deion Lewis started that game.
Imagine how much things have changed since then. You guys think Tannehill, a 2-4 start with Tannehill, would he get 6 starts before a change was made? 2-4 start. Everyone can see it's not working. You need something else. I mean, like you've said, Blaine, it's the last year of his contract. I mean, it was the same for Marcus.
To me, it's hard to say. Different circumstances. And this is where people try to put everything in the same buckets. This is not the same. First of all, Tannehill was an experienced quarterback who was sitting there waiting and said, hey, you know what? Now I'm watching from the sideline. I know some of the things I need to improve on, learn the offense. Here's what I'd be doing out there. And then when he got the shot, he did it. These are young guys, whether you're talking about Will Levis or Willis. I think the season has to go in a different direction, that they are not a contending team. That means the record is not good whenever he makes that decision, if that happens. I think it's different. Circumstances are a little bit different. I think because you're turning the page to some young guys, now that means you're turning the page on the season.
Yep.
To me. And you're already saying, we're going to get these guys developed for the next season. And if you do it sooner than later, then that means you say, well, hopefully by the end of the season, they'll be where we need them to be, and we'll still have a shot with this defense if it's playing at a high level. So, to me, even though it's the same position, different circumstances. Even though one quarterback plays bad and you just bench. I don't think at any point in time that the Titans were thinking about benching Marcus, but they were thinking, all right, if he plays bad, we're going to put Tannehill in with the injury. And that's exactly what happened. And it was the right decision. I agree with. I remember that decision. I agree with it. And I thought Tannehill looked better than Marcus even in that game. So you could see the upside of what it would look like if he started the game. Because it was a low-scoring defensive affair, if I can recall correctly, in the Denver Bronco game.
Yeah, 16-0. Titans were shut out.
Yeah, so totally different to me. I think you're going to stick with Tannehill till the season is no more that you're not a playoff contending team. I don't know if it's at 6. If they're 2-4, would you make the move? Is that what you're really? I don't know.
Well,
Because if you could still be 2-4 and Tannehill plays, solid.
sure. And Jameson says in the F&M Bank chat, just an interesting side note, you got to take into account, too, the record of everybody else in the AFC South. Yeah.
Very true.
That's a fantastic point.
Great point.
All right, let's get to hour number 2. Chelsa Messinger, you remember her from last year with the Daily Tip. She's going to give you some betting advice. We rejoin her for our Thursday segments. She'll be on with us in about 25 minutes. We'll also continue to talk headlines. Titans should be off the practice field soon, so we'll know who maybe has continued to be on the injury report and who isn't. Also, the Titans did something, as the Hitman pointed out earlier today. They signed somebody that might be an indication of something that's going on with somebody else. I'll explain it next. Thursday. Happy weekend to you. It's practically, let's just call it the weekend. That's what we do here on Thursday. The second hour of the Thursday show. We consider that the official start of the weekend because it's 2 o'clock. Some of you probably got your eyeballs on the road home. You're probably being not productive right now at work, which, I mean, we're not being productive, so we're right there with you. We're just hanging out.
Oh, we've been productive at our work.
We've been productive. We are at work right now. This is hard work hanging out with, 10-year NFL veteran talking about the NFL and soccer announcer. I mean, Lucas Panzica is going to be doing
Jack of all trades.
Premier League game of the week one day, and he'll be like, I used to work with those fools in Nashville.
And then all these people on the F&M Bank chat giving us the business about Ryan Tannehill, Burks, Chig, Moore. And, some even said, where's Wiley? Yeah, where's he at? I said, and Mickey looked up. How many plays did he play, Mickey? Now, I'm going to say this. If you play 5 plays or less, there's no need for you to be dressing. Seriously. I don't care what position it is.
Is that total plays, offense and special teams, let's say?
Yeah. In total, somebody else could have done 5 plays. You could have had Chig running down or a kickoff or return or Westco I don't know what special teams are. I'd never even seen it. I didn't think he played at all.
He played the...
Wait. Hold. Lucas, how many plays do you think Wiley played? Tight end from Cincinnati. 5th round pick.
Ron of Cincinnati.
How many snaps on Sunday for Josh Wiley? Oh, I'm going to say... Wait, no, he wasn't active, right?
What did he say?
He said, question. Oh, no, he wasn't active. No, he was active.
See, that's why I said he didn't play.
4 plays.
I said he did play. Lucas says 4. And naturally, as I said before, Lucas always wins when we go against each other.
Was it 4?
5.
He played 5 total. He played 2 offensive snaps and 3 on special teams, which Blaine and I, we have not reviewed the film. We are in agreement. We both think it would be kick return. Because here's an offensive guy that if the ball rolls to him somehow, pick it up and get down, get 7 yards.
He played on offense?
2 plays.
Oh,
2 plays.
I recall that. It must have been false starts and he ran back out. They counted that as a play. Do they count that as a play?
They don't count that as a play. It's no play. Here's the thing, man.
I did not see
that guy's a 5th-round draft pick.
How can I miss this dude?
He's a 5th-round draft pick. They only kept 3 tight ends, which is the most un-Titans thing you've ever have seen in your life. They always have 4 tight ends. And reading about Tim Kelly when he came here, Scott loves him. So 12 personnel. He's Mr. 12 personnel. Watch out. Then they kept 3 tight ends and 1 guy played 2 plays. So Chig and Trayvon Westco were like, hey, man.
We're going to get the ball.
Yeah. And then they didn't. I think Chig had 2 targets, and he should have had the other target deep.
Speaking of Chig, wasn't that my player to watch?
Well, we watched him. They watched him.
Hey, he was watching the same game I was watching. He was watching Tannehill throw that interception right over his head. Hey, man, dang, I was wide open. Nope, you ran too deep, and that's why I'm not throwing to you. You're not where you're supposed to be. Oh, man. I guess all jokes. You got to have a good sense of humor about it all because, man, that was not a pretty sight. But, hey, they called him Tanny Pick. Frankie, 75.
He is
trade Tanny Pick. I'm not gonna say what else he says on here because that's just insane. Fire Vrabel, come on, man.
Okay,
come on, stop.
All right,
I shouldn't even give that any credit.
This isn't just for Frankie 75 because there's lots of people who say, well, just trade this guy or just trade that guy or just trade this guy to the Jets. I will say this to anybody who's listening. Think about all the people that you want to trade and why you want to trade them. If you were any other team, why would you want the people that other people don't want enough to even trade for them? Think about that.
Now, if we're in the middle of the season or we're before trade deadline and we're sitting in a spot where it doesn't look too good as far as record-wise, I'm all in with you on anybody being traded. King, Tanny, if they are, when's trade deadline? You said November 1st.
I think it's Halloween, yeah.
Yeah. If we got a losing record and it's not looking good, 2-6 or wherever we may be, yep, all bets are off on anybody. Period.
So you would have played, 8 or 9 games by then?
Okay.
So say 2-6.
Oh, yeah. All bets are off.
Somebody calls about Byard.
Yeah, all bets are off. Okay. I said anybody. Yeah. Oh,
anybody.
Yeah. Oh,
Big
yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, nah.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, not him.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Nope. We just signed to the big contract. I can't do that one.
They don't have a lot of draft picks next year. You can trade and get some picks. Not for Big Jeff, but I'm saying for other people.
Yeah, he's he's a generational type player. Those guys don't come around too often.
Yeah.
And then, he's not at the end. He's at the peak of his career.
Anybody
He's
else?
still on the way up.
You say is not movable. Nope, not this guy.
Movable.
No way. No how.
Besides guys who are first-year guys that are playing, Skoronski or, guys like that. Everybody else, I think it's, But probably Will Levis because he was second round. He's a quarterback. Probably not on the table.
No, because he's their quarterback of the future.
Right.
I mean, whether you want to
pretty much
hear that
all
or not.
the obvious, it's as great as Byard is, he would be on the table because it's position. It's like safety. We can get by. We don't have the big playability, but we can get by. All right, let's start developing them. Let's see one of these young guys now who've been spot playing. See what they can do. See, because that's where the season goes. When you're 2, and what'd you say, 2-6?
They would have played 8 or 9 games, I guess, just based
7?
on the calendar.
If that's
8,
the case.
Yeah. 2-6, 2-7.
See what Taney had us doing right here? We're talking about 2-6 and 2-7.
Hey, these first 6 games are a booger, though, man.
Oh, no, they more than boogers. They are booger boos. These things. Hey, man, can't mess up. But let's hear Jonah here from Houston. You from Houston?
H-Town.
You in Houston. You in H-Town?
I'm in H-Town, man. I'm holding it down.
Ooh.
Well,
The Down in H-Town. It's the name of my next solo album.
That's right. I like how y'all were talking about got to have a sense of humor about things. I'm sitting here waiting to talk about Tannehill all crazy, and then my daughter's in here singing Frozen too. So,
she softened you up a little bit. Yeah,
she did. You know what? I'm gonna say a little bit about Tannehill's leash here. The Titans are trying to do something that you don't really see most teams do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're really trying to toe that line. I know we talked about this in the offseason. Are we rebuilding? Are we trying to stay competitive? And they did things that kind of signal both, right? You sign D-Hop and then you draft Levis. But I really think the key to this whole competitive piece is Tannehill. So I think that's why everyone's reacting so strongly about his performance, because if Tannehill's play declines and he's not able to win games for you, then what's the point of keeping him on the roster like you were talking about?
Well said there, Tony.
So in my opinion, I think his leash, it depends on how things look at week 6. If we're sitting at 2-4 with some bad play from Tannehill, I think you could see, in my opinion, I think Malik gets the first shot, but I think his leash is super short. Like, I think if he doesn't look good in that first game, they're just going to move on to Levis. But I think you could see right in the week 6, but I like what you said about 2-6 in week 8. Because if you're 2-6, 3-5, I think you can feel pretty comfortable about being like, hey, let's see what we got in these young guys.
Yep, start developing. Yep.
Appreciate the phone call, Jonah. Tell that daughter to keep singing. I got one that has been singing Frozen songs and is singing all kinds of stuff everywhere in the city now.
Ooh,
She's pretty good at it, too.
Yeah, she's pretty big at it. Pretty big time.
Pretty good.
Quick
man.
reminder, Jags were 2-6 last season before they won the division.
Those rascals go back and see
there we go with the box I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The record's the same. Transitioning to new coaching staff, new system. Players finally figured out. So you don't go change the quarterback at that time because you see the positives in what's going on in the development of the quarterback getting comfortable in the system, let alone all the other players and the culture that you're trying to get from previous coach to where you're at today. See, so even though the record's the same, different circumstances. See that? Is exactly what I'm talking about.
This is from Teron Davenport. Practice report for Thursday ahead of Sunday's game versus the Chargers.
Who practice?
No sign.
No, please.
Of DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, no.
Ankle, in parentheses. Amani Hooker, concussion.
Oh, no.
He said Christian Fulton did some individual work with DB coach Chris Harris and Roger McCreary. Sean Murphy Bunting did special teams period and then went inside.
Oh, Uh-oh. No wonder my phone is ringing right now. It's Titans. 615-5000. Yep. 465. Yep, that's them. I'm not available unless you're going to pay me $10 million.
$10 million. Get the hitman back.
And they'll be like, well, shoot, man. As long as you can make it with a hamstring. I said, yeah, but I'll pull it after the first play.
Jim Wyatt, yes, 100%, and then just collect my check. Traylon Burks back at practice after missing Wednesday. And Jim Wyatt, that was added per Jimmy White. He said Christian Fulton was on field for a stretch period. So there was some Christian Fulton stretching his hamstring.
I'm not buying it. But the bunt, I mean, what are we doing here? Uh-oh. Who's on the practice squad as a corner? Is this my guy? Our guy?
Yeah, Garrett the Terror.
Garrett the Terror. And Marsh.
Both are on the practice squad.
Oh, somebody's resting. I would not trust Fulton if my life depended on it. He ain't practicing? No. Watch this. If I'm a coach and it's Friday, you ain't practicing, I'm ruling you out. Not unless you like the quarterback or something. You know you can, like a McNair, you're going to find a way to play.
I mean, if it's McNair, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
but this dude is not made normally.
No, there aren't McNairs anymore.
So other than that, Friday, no practice, no can do. Sorry. Not unless you have some drastic improvement and you go, all right, we're going to work you out. We're going to see how you feel. And then that thing live or whatever the injury is swell up after that.
Practice squad,
Golly,
DBs, Shy Carter, who's more of a safety, Eric Garrett, Armani Marsh. Practice squad tight ends, Thomas Odukoya, Kevin Rader. I'd be willing to bet one of those rascals will be active on Sunday. If you're not going to get more from Wiley than 2 plays, I'd activate one of these rascals.
Or the Chargers good against the run? No, the Dolphins ran on them a little bit.
Dolphins did a whole lot to them. Now, I'll say this. The Chargers ran on the Dolphins. They ran a lot.
Yeah, they did.
The Kellen Moore thing, running the ball, they ran it. Maybe we could ask some of these questions of Chelsa Messinger. She probably has some predictions on some of these games because she is a Vegas-style predictor of things on the Daily Tip. She joined us all of last football season. She is back. All right, Lucas, I'm going to defy you. We have Titan tickets to give away. I will say this. I will give them away on the other side. How about that? You have to stick around. Your chance to win 2 tickets to the Tennessee Titans versus the Chargers this Sunday, but you got to come back to get them. And Chelsa Messinger next.
I'm stressed.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Money. Hey, you won't have to spend any money if you win these Titans tickets. 2 tickets to watch the Titans take on the Chargers this Sunday, September 17th. If you want them, caller number 5. 615-737-1045. Call and get 2 tickets from Lucas's personal collection of tickets. Maybe he got these from Chelsa Messinger. I don't know. Chelsa, we have been missing you. It's football season is back. The weekly visits are back. How in the world are you doing?
Yeah, you make our show look nicer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was super excited for football season until I had to watch our Titans not score a single touchdown in the first week of the season. We're going to be put through this again. I don't know if I can take it.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the Titans. For people who don't know, Chelsa Messinger at Chelsa, not Chelsea, Chelsa Messinger, co-host of the Daily Tip, which is a fantastic show. We'll have her give you all the info like we always do before she signs off. You hear her updates right here on the station every day at around 1:50. It was playing earlier. We heard Chelsa earlier today. She is a Gallatin native, correct? Lives here in Nashville. Has a pool, palm trees around it. If you have social media, you can see the palm tree pictures. Mm-hmm. Are the Titans going to be swaying under the palm trees Sunday with the Los Angeles Chargers, or can we expect more heartache and disappointment?
Oh, man, this is a tough one because do you really want to trust the offense right now? Probably not. But the thing is, the defense is so good that it keeps the Titans in games. It's the same story. The Titans as underdogs are hard not to take a gander at, but I think the best play in this game is a very specific one.
Okay.
I'm going to take the over passing yards for Justin Herbert, the quarterback for the LA Chargers, because number one, you're probably not going to run the ball effectively on the Titans, so you're probably going to throw it. That's why the Titans allowed the most passing yards per game of any defense in the NFL last season. Yeah. Also, Justin Herbert torched the Titans last season, 313 yards through the air. I know he didn't have a huge output in week 1 against the Dolphins, but the Dolphins have a terrible run defense. So, obviously, you run the ball more. So, I like Justin Herbert to go over his passing yardage prop. The Titans just gave up over 300 to Derek Carr. So, I think that's the play in the Titans game. You don't bet on the side. You just bet on Justin Herbert to air it out in the middle of the field.
Oof, 283, the number for Justin Herbert to pass. And again, hanging out with our friend Chelsa Messinger. We'll be doing it every Thursday, so you just tune on in and get all of your information here before you start placing your wagers.
Well, Chelsa, I guess I'm going to ask you first and foremost, who are the 2 teams that are favored to be in the Super Bowl as week 1 ended, and did that change from 0 week, or does that ever change?
I would imagine that it's probably the same. The sports books don't change too much when it comes to futures bets, especially after 1 week. We see this in the NFL, it feels like every year, where week 1 is kind of chaos, and then things start to fall into place later on in the season. Like, is anybody doubting the Bengals? Probably not, because they always start off slow. Right now, the Chiefs are your favorites to win the Super Bowl at plus 650. Hopefully, the Taylor Swift curse is not a real thing.
No, you just brought it up. It's real, isn't it, Chelsa?
Well, she went to Hendersonville. I went to Gallatin.
Oh, this goes way back then.
You guys been texting?
Oh, no. We are not friends. She is way too famous for me, or some high school rivalry, but had to throw in my jabs there. So it's the Chiefs plus 650. It's the Eagles 8-1, and the Chargers 7-1. So I guess the Niners are second on the board there as Super Bowl favorites. I mean, it's hard to argue there. We'll see if the Eagles are for real tonight.
Yeah.
They looked a little shaky in their first game against the Patriots, but that's a tough defensive matchup, tough going on the road on Tom Brady Day. But I do expect the Eagles, at least offensively, to look a little better tonight.
Oh, so you got them over the Vikings or no?
Yeah, I think they win. I'm not sure if I want to lay that big of a number, though. We have seen that some of these spreads are, tough to cover, even if you're dominating the entire game. I think the play tonight for the Eagles is their first half team total over 13.5. The Eagles were the number 1 scoring offense in the first half of the NFL. Better than any team across the board last season. So I think they're going to jump on the Vikings pretty early and often, And plus, it's their home opener. They want to make a statement. The Vikings defense is nowhere as potent as what we see from New England. This is an Eagles team that put up 16 in the first quarter of last week's game. I think they do the same. So I'll take the Eagles team total in the first half over 13.5.
Well, got a matchup of young quarterbacks in the AFC South, new, fresh. Colts at the Texans. Who you got?
Yeah, I'll take the plus money here. I believe the Colts are getting some points here, and I'll go with that. As much as we hate the Colts, at least Anthony Richardson is fun to watch. So if you think both of these teams are evenly matched, the Texans and the Colts, I'll take the plus money and the higher upside, because I think we can all agree that at least the Colts have some upside with Anthony Richardson. Like, maybe he's going to turn the ball over, but I think he has more upside than C.J. Stroud, at least in the small sample size that we've been provided. So I'll take the Colts.
All righty, and then maybe a preview of a playoff opponent or playoff teams, let's say Chiefs at the Jags.
All right, so week 2 in the betting world is known as overreaction week, where people see 1 week of NFL football and they make these, wild assumptions. Not wild, but probably a little bit too over the top about certain teams. The Chiefs did not look good against the Lions. Their receivers looked like they had frying pans for hands. They didn't have Chris Jones, but the good news is, maybe Kadarius Toney still has frying pans for hands, but at least Chris Jones is back on the defensive line. They talked about him as one of their top 3 players on the team overall. Kelsey, Mahomes, Chris Jones, those are the guys. So having him back for this game is huge, especially going against Trevor Lawrence. So I think a lot of people see the Jags, a team that's gotten a ton of hype in the preseason, and they'll say, oh, Jags getting points here. I think it's probably going to be the Chiefs. I would love this if it was at 3. It has since moved to 3.5 because we've seen some money come in on Kansas City, but I would still lean towards the Chiefs here. I'm not giving up on Kansas City just yet.
Well, this is the last one for me, I guess, until Mickey goes, but that isn't, I almost forgot. Who is the highest odds to be the Jets' backup quarterback?
Oh, gosh.
How could I forget, right?
I'm not sure if this is listed over at BetMGM.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would imagine they probably stick with Zach Wilson just for the time being, at least until they can find somebody. Because a lot of it is, who else are you going to get? You're going to get Matt Ryan. You're going to get Carson Wentz. Tom Brady ain't going to the Jets. He just did this retirement ceremony for New England. He probably shouldn't go to a division rival. I think that would tarnish his legacy. So in the short term, I do believe it's going to be Zach Wilson, and that means one thing to me. I will continue to play the unders for Jets games because Zach Wilson's not great, but this is more of a play on the defense. The Jets defense is one of the premier defenses in the entire NFL. We saw what they did to Josh Allen last week, or that was this week, I suppose. Made him commit 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble. So I think it's more of the same when they face the Cowboys, who, by the way, also have a fantastic defense. Didn't allow a single point to be scored by the New York Giants, pressuring Daniel Jones on 63% of the snaps, I believe. So I'll go with the under between the Jets and the Cowboys as well.
I'm going to put my money on Chad Henne, who's retired. He's
too young to know him.
Host of the Daily Tip.
You like a little come down for the Lions this week? Is this correct? Do you like the Seahawks to cover the number against the Lions, correct?
Yeah, again, overreaction week. I think people saw the Lions in prime time. That was a spotlight game. People saw the Lions go on the road to Arrowhead Stadium, knock off the reigning Super Bowl champs, and now everybody's on the Lions train. I think it's time to pump the brakes a little bit. I think the Seahawks can keep it close here. They beat them last year, 48-45, in an absolute slugfest between 2 really bad defenses. So I think the Seahawks can keep it close here. I think this is one of the prime overreaction spots of the week.
Command Skins at Browns. It feels like this one could be ugly offensively. You seem to agree because it's a very low under, and you like even below that, correct?
Well, don't know if you saw the Commanders last week. They barely squeaked past the defense that is the Arizona Cardinals. How do you think that fares when they go on the road to one of the toughest places to play? in the Mile High City against the Broncos. Broncos, by the way, have a really good defense. So do the Commanders. The Commanders, I mean, I think you guys saw this last year when the Titans played the Commanders. Their defensive line is tough. Montez Sweat is going to get paid. So you combine these two defenses, especially the defensive line of the Commanders, Sam Howell prone to rookie mistakes. You've got to remember, he's not in the quote-unquote rookie class, but he's played a total of 2 NFL games as a starter. So still a rookie in my book. So I'm going to hit the under. It is low at 39, but still expecting the defenses to rule the roost between Washington and Denver.
What was the biggest surprise for you in week 1? Maybe a team or a prop or something that really fooled you?
There is always a team that the gambling world, like the people that I know that are in the business, that people love to latch onto. Last week, it was the Steelers. Boy, did the Steelers look bad. Once again, the gambling world is saying, oh, it's overreaction week. It's time to play the Steelers again. And I'm not going to do it because I think I'm going to punch a wall after watching that Steelers game. And plus, the other trend, teams who play the 49ers the week after do terrible. It's some kind of trend where the only team that has won after playing the 49ers the week before is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it has something to do with how physical and tough that 49ers defense is. So you look at the Steelers, just played the 49ers, probably does not line up well for them, but a lot of people like the Steelers getting too.
I'll be quick. What are some of your best bets?
All right, so let's look to the college ranks. Everybody has an opinion on Coach Prime, correct?
Yes.
I think I'm going to go with Colorado, laying the big number against Colorado State. This has nothing to do with the hype train and everything to do with the statement that I think Colorado is trying to make, and also the high-octane offense that they have. If anybody can cover a big number, I think it's Colorado. I think Nebraska's defense was actually better than people were wanting to give it credit to. If you watch that game, the problem with Nebraska is they had a bunch of turnovers in the first half that really crippled them. It's not going to be the same deal against Colorado State. This team's terrible. Jay Norvell is on Sanders, too. How do you think that's going to go?
With glasses and hats, right?
Oh,
Sunglasses
good
and
Lord.
hats.
What's he doing? And if anybody can get his troops motivated to play against a lesser opponent, to still, put the foot on the gas pedal, I think it's Deion Sanders. So I will take them laying the big number. I believe it's 23.5, but Colorado State, I don't think they have a chance against this really high-powered offense.
And 2 SEC games. I'll start with South Carolina at Georgia.
Ooh, man, I don't want to do this one. First of all, the slate this week is not great. Not a ton of great college football games.
Yep.
What's the line in that one? 27.5? Like, I don't think I really want to take a stab at that one. And then the other one, I'm sure you guys have talked about at length, is the Tennessee-Florida game.
Yeah, that's where I'm going, Chelsa.
From a talent standpoint, Tennessee should have no problem with Florida. Florida does not have a high ceiling. Graham Mertz, you can talk about his completion percentage, whatever. I think people are saying, well, his completion percentage is good. He just doesn't have the high ceiling that Anthony Richardson had at the University of Florida. And I know Tennessee has some demons to work out, haven't won in Gainesville since 2003. But this one's tough because Florida's getting 6.5 points. This is a rivalry game. And this is a game in which sometimes these matchups are not won on paper. So this game really scares me. I would love to take Tennessee laying the 6.5, but sometimes in college we see these type of games where, the talent doesn't seem to matter. Certain teams just get up for certain games. So I'm going to pass on that one as well. But if I was not in Nashville, I think I would take the 6.5 with Florida.
It seems like, Chelsea, didn't this one start at 7.5? It's been bet down a point. I want to say it started like the next day. The first lines that I saw were 7.5 in this one.
Yeah, because people are taking Florida.
Yeah.
I think people see what Florida has done to Tennessee over the years, and sometimes there's something to that. Like, if you look on paper, like I said, Tennessee looks like to be way more offensively talented, but I don't know. I have a feeling this game's going to be closer than Vols fans would have the comfort for.
So it sounds like to me you put your money on Florida? Dare I say?
I would if I didn't hate that game. It's just that's not one of the best games. I hate the slate in college football this weekend. Next weekend we get a bunch of good ones,
Yeah,
but
no doubt.
this week,
Not so much.
This really is the game in college football. I would say it probably offers the most drama, other than just Dion and Jay Norvell, taking shots at each other. But on the field, this is by far the most interesting game, and a night game as well. Again, Vols getting 6.5. Chelsa, great to have you back on. It's very exciting to get to talk with you each week. And so I know the fans, the listeners, they love hearing from it. So let's let people know, where can they catch the Daily Tip every day so they can follow you and get all your predictions with your partner on the show and get all your information all week long?
all right. So you can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Chelsa Messenger. You can find the Daily Tip wherever you get your podcast. Just search the Daily Tip or search BetMGM. It will pop up for both. Easy enough. As always, thanks for having me. Go Green Wave, and hopefully the Titans can score a touchdown this week.
There you go. Gallatin's own Chelsa Messenger back with us every Thursday, giving you all the tips, just like she does on the Daily Tip. All right, we'll come back.
Yeah, by the Green Wave.
Green Wave, Gallatin Green Wave. Yeah, they got those Packers uniforms. They look sweet.
Yeah.
We got one more segment to roll with you guys and gals. We'll do that. Want to sound off on anything that you've heard? You can do it. 615-737-1045 will get you on. Also, some final Titans thoughts as we can look at who practiced today, who didn't, and kind of look ahead towards Sunday and who may or may not be on the field and what the Titans might or might not do. Yeah. Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Happy Thursday to you. You just about rolled through our entire program. 3HL will be up next, so they'll carry you the rest of the way through your rest of your work day and the rest of the way home for today. People tell us all the time they like it when we sing because
I don't know why
the
they
songs
say that,
don't go over the stream, so it's just us like moaning and singing it. No.
Oh, good.
On the radio, it does.
I can't sing, but I try.
Not anywhere else.
I can hum good, though. I think, I take notes from Lucas. He's a good hummer.
Always wish I could sing.
Oh, here we go. The microphone's coming on. I wondered what the response would be.
That is not what it sounds like if you just turn on your radio.
Jimmy Wyatt, Traylon Burks, he missed practice yesterday for personal reasons. He was back today, and video of him practice. That's really good. Amani Hooker remains in the team's concussion protocol. He said he did practice again on Thursday. It's a concussion protocol.
Whoa. After every person he announces, we got to have a or yay, something positive, energy, and then negative. And then we got to figure out how many negative was it, and then we're in trouble, or if we're in good shape.
Amani Hooker remains in the team's concussion protocol. He didn't practice again on Thursday.
Oh, I don't know. Y'all got to give me more notice than that.
All right, I got a good one. I got it. That's the bad one. This is bad.
I don't.
Okay, what do you got for this? Early in the week, this is again Jimmy Wyatt. Titans coach Mike Vrabel named Elijah Molden, Matt Jackson, and Mike Brown among the options opposite Kevin Byard at the safety position, along with Shaheem Carter, who is on the practice squad.
I'm in danger.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a real good one. We in danger. Danger.
No, just keep your finger on that button. Receiver DeAndre Hopkins did not practice on Thursday for the second straight day. He is listed in the injury report with an ankle.
Oh, he can get my ankle's good.
You got the danger drop there.
I don't know about a danger one.
Yeah, but
the receiver
that's a questionable.
Remember what this looked like last year without him?
It was questionable.
Remember what it looked like last week with him? Oh, heavens, help us. Tajay Spears' groin, limited in Wednesday's practice, was back on the practice field Thursday.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's where you play the
That's
organ.
fantastic.
That's
fantastic. Defensive lineman Tier Tart with the Grizoin was limited Wednesday, but he was back on the practice field Thursday.
Go say Thursday, say today.
Today.
Is that fantastic?
That's fantastic. Trey Avery hamstring practiced again today.
Oh.
This is the guy right here, though. Dylan Radins practiced again today.
Yeah.
Cornerback Christian Fulton was back on the practice field for stretch period today. He was listed as a limited participant on the team's injury report with a hamstring.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
leave you alone, Lucas. You got it.
So Tajay Spears with a groin was back on the practice field Thursday, but it is interesting, Blaine, as you and I, this may have even been off the air, they signed Jaquez Patrick, who was here in the preseason.
That's that big running back. I said fullback.
He's
running
a full size. He's like a redwood tree in cleats who runs the football. They signed him to the practice squad. So that tells you they're at least maybe keeping an eye on things
because
with
they don't know.
groins. Yeah.
So how many thumbs up and thumbs down? How many? Oh, man.
I don't know. I just give the whole thing the finger, I think.
Okay, let's move it on. After 1 week, man. Give me Google, man. They don't make them like they used to.
So
man.
you are staring at the possibility of playing the Chargers, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Josh Palmer, and then who's the
rookie?
The rookie.
He's full size too. Every bit of 6'3".
So they have a type like the Titans do.
And Everett, and then the other. Oh my!
So there's a real chance you have only one starter at safety, Kevin Byard, and then you have one of those other cats that we named, of Vrabel's named guys. If something happens and Fulton has a hamstring setback,
Avery and Vildor,
man. Hey, welcome to the team, dude. You about to play significant freaking minutes.
Hang on to your technique, bro, because I like what I saw from you I don't know how long he's been in the league, but maybe at least 2 or 3 years ago, for sure, man. I like him as a player, so he definitely can hold the fort. And he's got some starting experience, so I'm cool with that, and Avery does too at this point in time. So I'm cool. We can get by with McCrary. I think that's 3 okay corners. So you can work with that. I'm putting myself in Byard's shoes because then he's going to be working for, first-time starter at safety in Molden probably. I don't know because Molden's going to be moving around a lot probably in the dime package. So people never take this into account, but when you're a safety in all these moving parts and you got different people you're working with that aren't used to being out there, it affects you to a certain extent. And I'm interested to see how well Byard even does because he's trying to communicate and make sure everybody stays on the same page. It's easier said than done. But man, that's why you got that front four. They better get after it. Whoever the front four is, rotational guy, whoever it is, they better keep it coming because they need all the help they can get in the back end there against these Chargers.
I mean, they're going to have to legitimately disturb Herbert. And Herbert is a big guy, but he can move around.
Yeah, he's
surprisingly well for a really huge human being.
Athletic, yeah.
And went back and watched. He can run out of sacks. He's strong, and he can break a tackle on a sack, and he moves surprisingly well for a really big human. And then he's throwing the ball to a bunch of big humans. Then they have Parham Jr., who's he's like 6'7" or something. You got Gerald Everett, who is one of these physical freak tight ends. So they have 2 tight ends who can hurt you, and a bunch of big receivers.
Yeah, and Palmer from UT. Man, he's got some big old Mickey Mouse hands. Dude, every week it's going to be something.
Well, yeah. I mean, in this league, everybody's just throwing something at you all the time. I'm trying to check and see if I can find the Chargers injury report for today because I think they should be finished practicing about right now. Jimmy Wyatt yesterday had listed the Chargers' initial injury report. Joey Bosa, hamstring, Austin Eckler, ankle, and personal. His agent passed away. We were told that earlier today. Those guys did not practice along with a linebacker, Henley, and the linebacker, Eric Kendricks. Chris Rumpf, outside linebacker, was limited, so their linebacker room appears to be pretty beat up. If you're the Titans, you certainly don't want to see Austin Eckler or Joey Bosa if possible.
Oh, that'd be fantabulous.
There was a report also from Teron Davenport. He had said Sean Murphy-Bunting went in after special teams. And so the practices that we typically see, it's stretch.
But he practiced yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he just had to, do a little business in the locker room, so.
It could be.
I mean, you got hurt. You can't get hurt in stretch. I don't know. Oh, man, they just put my stress meter way out of whack, man.
No official injury report yet, so we have not seen that. But I'll tell you this, probably here we go. Daniel Popper, who is the Chargers beat writer, Austin Eckler ankle is not practicing today.
Oh, I just saw that.
So there's that news. 3HL should have the Titans who did and who didn't practice news because that will drop as soon as we say goodbye because it always does.
But in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.